Welcome to this FP2 video on regions in an Argand diagram. So in this video I'm going to show you how you can use complex numbers to represent regions in an Argand diagram. All it really is using the skills that you've already built up to now, putting more than perhaps one of them on a single Argand diagram, and then shading the region that represents what you're trying to find. So I think what we'll do is we'll jump straight into an example. So in this first example, it's just going to be about drawing each of these on separate Argand diagrams. So this first one is going to be a circle, and if you imagine taking the z outside, and this would be 3 plus 2i inside the brackets for your z minus your z1. So this is going to be a circle and the center is going to be 3, 2. So let's mark the center 3, 2, and then I'll draw the circle. And of course there's a circle with radius 2 from the 2 up here. So this is my diagram. This will be 2. Of course it's 2 and there's the 3. And when I'm shading it, I'm going to be shading the inside. Okay, and that's shaded the inside. Now we move on to the second one. So z minus 3 less than z minus 5. Now, if you think of this being equals, this is going to be the perpendicular bisector of these. So it's going to be the line x equals 4. So if I rub out the equals and put in an inequality here, I'm basically going to do the same with my perpendicular bisector. Okay, so that's what I'm really doing here. So let's put 3, 4 and 5 down. Then what I want is a straight line at x equals 4. And it would be a dashed line because it's just less than, it's not equals to it. And then I want to shade everything to the left of this line, like so. Now let's move on to the third one. So this one, we are drawing an angle to like a half line from this point between 0 and pi by 4. So this arg is z minus 1 plus 2i. And it's between pi by 4 and 0. So if I first do the 1, 2, that's going to be this point here. And then I'm going to be making it equals to 0 first of all. So that is going to be just a horizontal line to the right of this, like so. Then I want to do when this arg z minus 1 minus 2i equals to pi by 4. So I've done arg z minus 1 minus 2i equals 0. And then I'm going to do arg z minus 1 minus 2i equals pi by 4. And then of course I shade what's in between them. And 45 degrees looks like that. So here, this angle here is that pi by 4. And then I'm just left to shade this area or this region. And there you have it. So I've done all three diagrams. Now what we're essentially going to do is now look at what we're going to do if we kind of combine them. So here we've got all three and their intersections. Okay, so we're going to combine all three into one. So here's all three diagrams again. I've just copied them from my previous ones. And what I'm going to do is combine them. So I've just taken off the little bit at the end here because these ones had a slightly longer x-axis. But this second one here is this one. So it's intersecting with this one. So if I overlap it, it will go there. Okay. And then this third one here is this one. And again, they're all intersecting. So again, now if I overlap it, it goes there. And then I've got to remember what was my shaded area. So my shaded area was to the left of the dashed line and between the 0 and the pi by 4 angles and within the circle. So my shaded area is this shaded area here. Okay, and that then is the region that satisfies all three. Okay, so do you see it's actually quite easy as long as you break it down. So if you were given a question that just had these three, you just want to do each one separately. And if it helps, do a little sketch of each one so you know which region you're looking at, and then combine them into one diagram. Okay, so it's just one example. We'll get straight into a few questions next. But I just want to remind you at this point, if you are yet to subscribe, hit that subscribe button. Helps me out, as you well know, and makes it easier for you to find my channel again. If you found this video useful, hit that like button. And if you're willing and able to help me out financially, hit that join button. Okay, you don't really get a lot for the join button. It is just really about helping me out if you can, but all my videos do post a few days early to the members. And when it comes to exam time, because I get a lot of questions, I solely prioritize the members' questions. Okay, and those have been members for a long time. So that is the membership. Anyway, let's look at the questions. So 3 questions for you to have a go at today. They are what I'd say is fairly straightforward. Okay, they're all past exam questions, or parts of an exam question. So have a go, pause the video, have a go, and then at the end of the video check out the answers. So pause now. Welcome back. Let's check out the answers. Okay, so we've got the region R in an Argand diagram satisfied by the inequalities mod z is less than 5. So this is going to be a circle, and mod z is less than or equal to mod z minus 6i. So this is going to be a perpendicular bisector. So I'll start with the perpendicular bisector. So this is going to be between 0 and 6i. So that's going to be 6 on the imaginary. So about there. So the perpendicular bisector will be at 3. And it's less than or equal to, so we can use a bold line there. Okay, but we'll do the actual shading at the end. Now what's next is a circle. So we want a circle of radius 5. So this is the line Z equals z minus 6i, and this is of course z equals 5. We're looking at obviously z being less than or equals to 5, so within this circle, and then we want it less than or equals to the 6i, so it's going to be below this line, so we want to shade all of this area here like so, and that is the question complete. Okay, so make sure you just labeled it. You don't have to put on all your labels, but you can certainly put them on 5, the -5 and the -5 on the circle if you wish to, but that's not really necessary, and then just label this R afterwards. And that's question 1 complete. Okay, next we have another one. So this one, go recognize these. This is going to be a circle, radius 1, and this is going to be half lines, half line from 0 to 3/4 pi. So let's get started with that. Let me just put some axes down. So first I will deal with the arg z. So first we're looking at arg z equals 0. So that is from the 0 line. I'll do this in another color so that it stands out. So from the 0 line, and the angle is 0, so it's going to be in that direction. And then we'll pick green for the next one, but the next one we're going to do is arg z equals 3/4 pi. So that is going to be 135 degrees. So going up in that direction. And this angle here is 3/4 pi. Okay, so here we're going to be shading between that. So that will be, in this region. But of course, it's not just this region, we've also got this circle. So let's draw this circle next. So this circle, let me switch back to my black pen. This circle is going to be -1 plus I. So it's going to be -1 plus 1 is going to be the center, so about that. And then the circle of radius 1 is like that. So the region to be shaded is between the green and the red and with it inside the circle. So we're looking at this region here, like so. And then we have the second question complete. Okay, nice and quite easy, I think, so far. Now, the third question just has a slightly different set out, but it's just telling you that z is an element of the complex numbers, and then what this is. Okay, so it's just the same as the other ones. So you got mod z less than or equal to 3, so that's going to be a circle. And then we've got arg z plus 3 is between pi and pi by 4. So that is going to be, 2 half lines, which is going to create like an angle. Okay, so let me get the axes up. There we are. So arg of z minus, so it's going to be -3. That's what we're looking at, and we're going to do that equals to pi by 4, and then we're doing arg z plus 3 equals pi. So it's -3, so it's going to be here at -3. Now pi, So if this is measure from the real axis, pi is all the way around here. So that means, and I'll do this in red, that is going to be along the axis to the right, to the left, sorry, of the -3. And then pi by 4, so we're going to be measuring from 0 up to pi by 4, so it's going to be an angle this direction. Again, I'm just going to stick with the red angle, or the red colour for both my angles here. It's going to look something like that. And of course then the shading is in between, so here. Then we've got z is less than or equal to 3, so that's going to be a circle like so with radius 3. And we're going to be shading with inside the circle, so it's inside the circle and it's in between the two red lines, which means this is the region to be shaded, like so. So there you have it, all 3 questions complete, nice and straightforward, I think you'll find. In the next video we'll look at further regions in Argand diagrams, and that's when they get a little bit harder. Okay, well, hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to smash that like button, subscribe if you're yet to subscribe, and if you're willing to and able to help me out financially, please hit that join button. Otherwise, I'll catch you in a further video.